Have you ever bitten into a juicy piece of fruit, savoring its sweetness, only to wonder, could this simple pleasure secretly harm you? As we age, the foods we've long trusted as healthy staples can turn against us in ways we never imagined. Fruit, often celebrated as nature's perfect gift, isn't always the innocent delight it seems. For seniors, certain fruits can transform from wholesome snacks into silent threats, spiking blood sugar, disrupting digestion, or clashing dangerously with medications. Picture this: a vibrant grapefruit, glistening in the morning light, its tart aroma filling the air, yet beneath its refreshing facade lies a hidden peril that could unravel your health without a whisper of warning. In this journey, we'll unveil 7 fruits that seniors should steer clear of at all costs. Some so surprising, you might already have them in your kitchen. By the end, you'll not only know which fruits to approach with caution, but also why sidestepping them could safeguard your vitality. Stay with me until the final revelation, because the last fruit on this list is one millions enjoy daily, blissfully unaware of the danger lurking within. Let's dive in. Number 1. Grapefruit. The day begins with a ritual as old as time. Sunlight streaming through the window, the sharp scent of citrus cutting through the stillness as you slice into a grapefruit. Its ruby flesh promises vitality, a burst of vitamin C to fortify the body. But for seniors, this morning staple can wield a double-edged sword. Grapefruit harbors compounds that meddle with the body's delicate machinery, specifically the enzymes in your liver and intestines tasked with metabolizing medications. Imagine those enzymes as gatekeepers, carefully regulating the flow of drugs into your bloodstream. When grapefruit enters the scene, it throws open the gates or slams them shut, disrupting the balance. Take Henry, a spry 72-year-old with a twinkle in his eye and a love for routine. For years, he managed his high blood pressure with a single pill each morning, washing it down with a tall glass of grapefruit juice squeezed fresh from his backyard tree. It was his healthy habit, a nod to the vitality he cherished. But slowly, a fog crept in. Dizziness clouded his walks, and his once steady hands trembled as he gripped his cane. At first, he blamed age, shrugging it off as the inevitable march of time. It wasn't until a routine checkup that the truth surfaced. His medication levels had soared to toxic heights, amplified by the grapefruit he adored. His doctor explained the science, how the fruit's compounds, known as furanocoumarins, blocked the enzyme CYP3A4, letting the drug linger in his system far too long. The result? A cascade of side effects: irregular heartbeats, kidney strain, and a creeping weakness he'd never tied to his breakfast table. This isn't just about heart medications either. Grapefruit can tamper with drugs for anxiety, depression, even pain relief, turning a mild dose into a potent overdose or rendering it useless. The effects don't hit like a thunderclap. They build quietly, a slow poison you might not notice until it's too late. For Henry, cutting grapefruit from his diet was like lifting a veil. His symptoms faded, his strength returned. If you're on prescriptions, a quick chat with your doctor could reveal whether this citrus saboteur lurks in your routine. Safer alternatives abound. Oranges, apples, berries, offering the same zesty nourishment without the risk. For seniors, grapefruit isn't just a fruit. It's a gamble not worth taking. Number 2. Durian. In a bustling market halfway across the world, the air thickens with an aroma that's impossible to ignore. pungent, musky, almost otherworldly. This is durian, the so-called king of fruits, its spiky shell guarding a creamy treasure revered as a delicacy. For 68-year-old Robert, a retired teacher with a passion for adventure, it was a siren call. He'd heard tales of its rich flavor, a custard-like decadence unlike anything he'd tasted. One humid evening, he sat at a weathered wooden table, spooning the golden flesh into his mouth, savoring its strange allure. But as the night deepened, something shifted. His heart thudded against his ribs, a flush of heat swept over him, and a heaviness settled in his gut. Durian's danger lies in its complexity. Its high sulfur content, a chemical signature that gives it that infamous stench, can clash with alcohol, a risky dance for seniors who enjoy a glass of wine with dinner. The combination can unleash nausea, dizziness, even perilous spikes in blood pressure. But even without a drink, durian demands caution. Laden with dense fats and calories, it's a feast the aging body struggles to process. Robert, with his slowing metabolism, felt the weight of it. Bloating twisted his stomach, and his pulse raced as the fruit's heat coursed through him. For seniors with heart conditions, this surge in circulation can tip the scales from discomfort to disaster. Then there's the sugar. Durian's sweetness masks a hefty load of natural sugars, a trap for those with diabetes or insulin resistance. Robert didn't know his indulgence had sent his glucose soaring until the next morning, when weakness pinned him to his chair. His doctor later pieced it together. The fruit's lack of balancing fiber made it a sugar bomb, overwhelming his system. For Robert, durian became a lesson in limits. A single taste was enough to teach him respect for its power. Seniors with blood pressure woes, digestive sensitivities, or sugar concerns should pass on this regal fruit. Mangoes or pineapples offer tropical bliss without the gamble. If you're intrigued, comment number 2 below. I'd love to know you're with me on this journey. Number 3, starfruit picture. A fruit so striking it seems carved by an artist's hand. Bright yellow, its edges slicing the air like a star plucked from the sky. Starfruit, with its crisp bite and tangy juice, feels like a gift of summer. But for 74-year-old George, a man who'd weathered life's storms with quiet resilience, it became a shadow he never saw coming. Living with mild kidney disease, he'd kept his health in check, until a trip to the grocery store introduced him to this exotic gem. That evening, he sliced it thin, marveling at its beauty, and ate it with the curiosity of a child. Hours later, a fog descended. Lightheadedness blurred his vision, and a tremor shook his hands as he reached for his coffee mug. Starfruit's secret lies in a neurotoxin called caramboxin, a compound the kidneys must filter from the blood. In youth, this is a simple task. George's younger self would have shrugged it off. But age had softened his kidneys' strength, and the toxin lingered, seeping into his nervous system. By morning, balance eluded him. Confusion muddled his thoughts. He ate it again the next day, unsuspecting, and the symptoms deepened. Twitches in his fingers, a haze over his mind. It was his doctor who unraveled the mystery. Even half a starfruit could overwhelm weakened kidneys, triggering seizures or worse in extreme cases. For seniors, the stakes are higher. Aging naturally dims kidney function, making starfruit a silent predator even for those without diagnosed disease. George's recovery came with a price. Weeks of unease before the toxin cleared, a stark reminder of nature's hidden edges. If your kidneys whisper warnings, or if you simply value caution, swap star fruit for gentler delights like watermelon or kiwi. Its beauty may captivate, but its risk outweighs the reward. Number 4. Cherimoya, custard apple. Imagine sinking your spoon into a fruit so luscious it feels like a dessert born of the tropics. Cherimoya, the custard apple, with its velvety flesh and a sweetness that dances on the tongue. For 70-year-old Leonard, a man whose life had been a tapestry of bold choices, it was love at first bite. A retired carpenter with sawdust still in his soul, he'd always sought the unusual exotic fruits were his quiet rebellion against the ordinary. Cherimoya became his evening ritual, a creamy indulgence to cap his days. But beneath its allure, a shadow grew. Fatigue weighed his limbs, and his once nimble fingers faltered as he whittled wood by the firelight. The danger of cherimoya hides in its seeds, skin, and leaves, where a toxin called ananakin lurks. While the flesh is safe in moderation, those small dark seeds blend seamlessly into the fruit's softness, easy to crush or swallow by mistake. Leonard didn't know that each accidental bite released compounds linked to nerve damage, a slow erosion of the body's wiring. Over weeks, his hands weakened, not from age, but from the fruit he'd welcomed into his life. Studies whisper a chilling possibility. Ananakin may mimic the tremors and stiffness of Parkinson's disease, a specter no senior wants to face. The effects crept up quietly. One night, as he sat on his porch tracing the stars, a numbness tingled in his legs, a sensation he brushed off as the chill of dusk. Then came the drowsiness, a metallic tang lingering in his mouth after each bite. His doctor, a sharp-eyed woman who'd seen the world's oddities, flagged cherimoya as the culprit. For Leonard, cutting it out was bittersweet. His energy returned, his hands steadied, but he mourned the loss of his tropical muse. Seniors guarding their brain health should tread lightly here. Bananas or pears offer sweetness without the neurotoxic whisper. If this strikes a chord, drop number 4 in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Number 5. Unripe papaya. Papaya, ripe and golden, is a darling of health enthusiasts. Its enzymes a balm for digestion. But unripe, it's a different beast, green and firm, brimming with latex that can turn a simple meal into a trial. Eleanor, 76, was a woman of quiet determination, her kitchen a sanctuary of wholesome habits. She'd read of papaya's virtues and decided to weave it into her days. One morning, she plucked a fruit from the market, its skin still taut and emerald. Blended into a smoothie, it promised renewal until a fire ignited in her throat, a tightness gripping her chest as she sipped. Unripe papaya's latex, rich with papin, is a double-edged blade. For some, it's a mild irritant, bloating, or a sour stomach. For Eleanor, with her sensitive digestion honed by years of careful eating, it was war. The latex scorched her esophagus, stirring acid reflux that clawed at her peace. Seniors, their stomach linings thinning with time, feel this sting more keenly. Gastritis or ulcers flare under its assault. But the real jolt came later. Her lips itched, her breath shortened. A mild latex allergy, dormant until that day, awoke with a vengeance. She tried it again, hoping for a fluke, but the burning returned. Her doctor confirmed the link, noting cross-reactions with bananas and avocados she'd never suspected. Ripe papaya, soft and amber, sheds much of this risk, its latex fading as sugars bloom. Eleanor learned to wait, letting the fruit ripen fully before indulging. For seniors with tender stomachs or hidden allergies, unripe papaya is a gamble. Stick to gentler allies like ripe melon or berries. Its green bite may tempt, but patience yields a safer reward. Number 6. Ackee. In a sun-drenched market, the air hums with life. Vendors hawk their wares, and a fruit glows like a secret waiting to be told. Ackee, its red shell splitting to reveal creamy lobes, is a tropical treasure in places like Jamaica. Harold, 69, a wanderer at heart, stumbled upon it during a trip. Its novelty called to him, a taste of the world he'd always chased. That afternoon, he savored it, the texture lush against his tongue. But as dusk fell, weakness seeped into his bones. Dizziness spun the room, and his stomach rebelled with a fury he couldn't name. Ackee's peril is hypoglycin, a toxin that lingers in its unripe flesh. Eaten too soon, it triggers Jamaican vomiting sickness, a cascade of nausea, cramps, and a blood sugar plunge that can steal breath and consciousness. Harold's portion, slightly underripe, unleashed this chaos. Hours later, he swayed on his feet, food slipping from his grasp as sweat beaded his brow. In extreme cases, it's a descent into seizures or coma. Seniors with fragile glucose balance face amplified stakes. Even ripe, Ackee demands precision. A trace of toxin can unsettle the unwary. Harold's doctor pieced it together the next day. His blood sugar had cratered, a silent crisis averted by luck. For diabetics, or those with metabolic quirks, Ackee is a loaded die. Safer fruits like guava or coconut beckon instead. Harold swore off it, the memory of that night etched in his trembling hands. Comment number 6 if you're still with me. Your presence fuels this tale. Number 7. Lychee's delicate shell hides a pearl of flavor, sweet, floral, a whisper of summer in every bite. Margaret, 72, adored it as her morning ritual. A bowl of the glistening orbs, her quiet joy. A widow who found solace in small pleasures, she saw it as health in handfuls, vitamins to keep her spry. But one day, after her empty stomach feast, a tremor shook her. Lightheadedness blurred the edges of her world, and focus slipped from her grasp like sand. Lychee's danger is subtle, a compound that stifles glucose production, plunging blood sugar when eaten alone. For seniors whose bodies teeter on stability's edge, it's a tightrope walk. Margaret felt the drop, shakiness, confusion, a faintness that toppled her morning calm. Studies tie lychee to hypoglycemia outbreaks, especially in the undernourished. For those on diabetes meds, it's a double blow. Excess toxins strain the liver, a slow tax on resilience. The next week, it struck again. She visited her doctor, who traced the thread to her beloved fruit. Eating it with meals tamed the beast, but Margaret chose caution, swapping lychee for strawberries' steady embrace. Moderation works, but for the vulnerable, it's a risk too sly to chance. If this resonates, let me know. I'm here to the end. Final thought. As the curtain falls, reflect on these 7 fruits, each a marvel, yet each a potential foe. Grapefruit's quiet sabotage, durian's heavy crown, starfruit's toxic starlight. They weave a tale of nature's duality. Cherimoya's velvet trap, unripe papayas sting, aki's hidden venom, lychee's sweet betrayal. They remind us that age reshapes even the simplest joys. Which stunned you most? Have their shadows touched your life? Share below. Your voice might light someone's path. Health isn't just eating well, it's sidestepping pitfalls with wisdom. Ask your doctor if doubt lingers. Your well-being deserves that guard. Thanks for walking this road with me. Comment one lesson you'll carry forward. Like, subscribe, share. Your support keeps these stories alive. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe.